Department of Defense has identified another fallen soldier from Iowa who died over the weekend in those airstrikes in Kuwait.
So we want to get straight over to Local 5's Emma Stroner, who is live in studio this morning. Emma, tell us, what do we know about this soldier so far?
Well, we know that 45-year-old Major Jeffrey R. O'Brien from Waukee was killed in a strike that also left 5 other service members dead. The DoD also announced the death of another Army Reserve soldier, who they believe is Chief Warrant Officer 3 Robert M. Marzin from California. But we are still waiting for a medical examiner to confirm his identity. Now, both O'Brien and Marzin were assigned to the 103rd Sustainment Command here in Des Moines. Iowa leaders are now reacting to these losses, sharing messages of condolence for Major Jeffrey O'Brien's family and the other soldiers killed. Iowa Senate Democratic leader Janice Weiner said, in part, quote, "I am devastated by the news of yet another Iowan killed in action overseas. Every loss of life is a tragedy, but it's made that much worse when it happens so far from home. My thoughts are with Jeffrey O'Brien's loved ones as they grapple with his sacrifice and with all the Iowans who continue to put themselves in harm's way." Paul Pate on Facebook said, quote, "More sad news about the loss of another Iowa soldier. My deepest condolences and prayers to the families of Major Jeffrey R. O'Brien, Sergeant Declan J. Cody, and the other 4 soldiers lost to this tragic violence. Iowa stands with these families and the families of all the brave men and women serving our nation." Joseph.
We certainly do. Emma, thank you. And also another Iowan, Sergeant Declan Cody, a West Des Moines native, is being remembered this morning, not just as a soldier, but as a student, a teammate, and a leader in his community. Friends, coaches, and mentors all saying that he made an impact wherever he went. And his counselor, Eric Trainer, is remembering his kindness.
He just made people feel comfortable with who they are. They didn't have to pretend to be a certain way with Declan. He did things because he knew it was the right thing to do, and he wanted to serve his country.
Declan's mentors say everyone only had great things to say about him. He leaves behind 2 brothers, one older, one younger, and also a sister.
And the war in Iran could lead to some big changes here in Iowa, especially for farmers. Gas prices in the state have jumped nearly 50 cents a gallon in just the past week. That's a big deal for farmers who rely on diesel and petroleum-based fertilizer. Iowa already ranked 2nd in the nation for farm bankruptcies in early 2025, and economists say how long the conflict lasts could shape what happens next. And gas pumps aren't the only place that you may feel the impact. The strikes on Iran are also creating more economic uncertainty. Economists say higher oil prices could eventually drive up the costs of flying and shipping. Some cargo ships are already avoiding the Strait of Hormuz, taking longer routes that cost more.
The routes that ships having to take be much longer, much more costly, going around the Horn of Africa instead of going through the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea. And we're definitely seeing cost increases to the carriers to make those journeys.
Experts say just how much this affects the U.S. economy will depend on how long this conflict continues.
And on Capitol Hill this morning here at 5:36, the back and forth continues over whether President Trump should be able to send troops to war without Congress's approval. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio reports as the Trump administration continues to defend the president's decision.
This morning, the Pentagon marking the first 100 hours of the war in Iran by releasing this video showing strikes on multiple Iranian targets.
We are also sinking the Iranian Navy, the entire Navy.
The Trump administration saying this is just the beginning of the war, and now a victory for the White House.
The motion to discharge is not approved.
Republicans in Congress defeating an effort by Democrats to rein in President Trump's war powers. The measure would have prevented further military action without congressional approval, but Senate Republicans pointing out past presidents from Bush to Obama also conducted military operations without congressional approval. It comes as the president faces growing scrutiny over his rationale for ordering the attack on Iran. Top officials saying Trump acted on intelligence and insisting that Iran posed an imminent threat. Critics want proof. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt yesterday saying this.
The president had a feeling, again, based on fact, that Iran was going to strike the United States, was going to strike our assets in the region.
Democrats pouncing. Senator Chris Coons saying, quote, the president and his administration keep shifting their rationale for the war. The only thing that is remain consistent is the lack of strategy for how to wage it. That's what happens when you launch a war based on gut feelings. While the war of words plays out, an actual fight broke out during this Senate hearing.
No one wants to fight for Israel!
An anti-war protester identified as 44-year-old Brian McGinnis clashing with police. Montana Senator Tim Sheehy then helping officers remove McGinnis, whose arm appeared to snap. He now faces multiple charges, including assaulting an officer.
McGinnis is a U.S. Senate candidate from North Carolina under the Green Party. His website says he's also a Marine veteran. Now, those 3 Capitol Police officers were treated for injuries. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And to make sure you get the latest updates on the war in Iran, you can keep up whenever you would like over at We Are Iowa Plus. All you have to do is download it on your TV and start watching for free.